Hello, this is the Blimey Cow YouTuber, and welcome back to another video. And before I jump into this, I just want to say I do have an Instagram. And the only reason I bring this up is because if you remember in the last video, there was this one guy, Phoenix Van Veren from the comment section, and I went ahead and reached out to him and asked for updates, and you may remember I said that okay, so he had this best friend girl, and uh, I essentially said that that cannot remain as such in perpetuity. Um, that either he would end up liking her, she would end up liking him, or both, or one of them or both of them would end up liking someone else. And essentially but anyway, so I reached out and said updates, and he says funny you should ask, they've been together for 5 years now, and he honestly couldn't imagine his life without him. uh her, his life without her, whatever. She brings me so much joy and love. And as I said, a guy and a girl cannot remain best friends and only best friends indefinitely. Um, but anyway, so the reason I bring all this all up is I um I've had this Instagram account for a while, and I've not really known what to do with it. I originally started it um just to try to submit memes for Jordan back when that page was on Instagram. But now that that's all done through the community, I don't need to worry about that. But I figured what I'll do is I'll use this Instagram to post like updates or follow-ups to videos, like I did in this case. So there's the handle right there. Um, but yeah, anyways, that's that. And today, we're going to get to Messy Mondays, stupid drivers. Yeah. So without any further ado, let's just get into it.
Have you ever noticed how many bad drivers there are? And how
Um. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I guess I've noticed bad drivers now and then. Um. Again, I mean, I know there are people who are habitually bad drivers, but oftentimes it also seems that most people are decent drivers, and they'll just sometimes mess up. Um, and when you have enough of that, it looks like there's lots of bad drivers, but in reality, it's not that way.
you just so happen to know none of them. Man,
Okay, I see where he's coming from. He's kind of um uh he's taking my I'm taking the same side he's on. I couldn't tell at the beginning.
and some dummy pulled out in front of me today.
So then the light turns green and I keep honking my horn, but the idiot in front of me just will not go.
Okay, it's one thing to miss the light turning green, but if someone's honking at you, like, unless there's some serious situation going on, well, just look up at the light, see it's green, and go. It's not that hard, I don't think.
I was on I-40 today, and no joke, this woman was doing her makeup and eating while she was driving. I got a picture of it. First off,
Okay. So obviously the joke here is that he was upset enough about this distracted driver to take out his phone and commit his own distracted driving. I'm gonna say that doesn't generally happen. Generally, the people who are generally when you're actively complaining about distracted drivers, you have the self-awareness not to immediately drive distracted yourself. At the same time, I'm not saying that doesn't happen. I'm just saying that's generally not what happens.
I think a lot of people need to look in the mirror and realize that it doesn't make sense that you are the only good driver on.
Yeah, I'm not the only good driver out there. I'm not a particularly good driver. I just got my driver's license a week ago today. So, yeah, that's fair.
On the road. And then from there, a nice chunk of those people need to realize that they actually are bad drivers. Like,
Okay, so I just said I'm not a good driver. But I'm not entirely convinced I'm a bad driver. I'd say I'm a mediocre to subpar driver, but not quite bad. If you know what I mean. Like, I don't drive recklessly. I don't text and drive. I don't. To be fair, I haven't driven all that much at all. So. But I can say there are certain things which I can pretty much assure you I will never do, and most of those are the things that we generally associate with proper bad driving. But okay.
Like, don't you hate it when some genius example of humanity comes zooming past you at 30 miles per hour over the speed limit? I mean...
I mean... So, generally there's a grace period that is, if I recall correctly, it's 5 miles over the speed limit plus 5% of the speed limit. And there were times when I was doing that, and I get passed by some guy going 10 miles an hour faster than me. So that's a big violation there. Like, I don't even know how you get your car going that fast, because whatever.
You literally have that little respect for human life that you would go careening down a highway at over 100 miles per hour in a vehicle that weighs over a metric ton?
Don't ask those questions. You'd be surprised how little value most people put on human life, and you don't want to ask a question to get them to admit it. I'm not gonna lie, I'm no particular fan of human life, but even then I have more respect for human life than the average person.
No, man, I want to live life to the fullest. Yeah, and so does everyone else, you inconsiderate, selfish moron. Seriously, there is no grace for anybody that acts like an idiot while they drive. It's not like, oh, they're trying not to think so much while they drive. You know how it is, it's so hard not to. Just cut him some slack. No, just stop doing it before you kill somebody. Oh.
So like I said, um, I don't text and drive, but that's, to be fair, that's probably largely because one, have been driving for a week, and two, because I don't text in general. Um, like, I can count on one hand the number of texts I sent in a week on most weeks. And um, okay, so the closest I've done is um, I listening to music, right? My tablet stops because it comes to a song that is in the playlist that's not downloaded, and I put in my pin and um skip to the next song. That's which, like, I excused it at the time as being the rough equivalent of changing the radio, which to my knowledge is still illegal if not, or is still legal if not recommended. Um, and I'm not sure is that that's a fair comparison. I do know that that is not something I'm going to do again when I can avoid it. Um, but when there's not a stop within the next 30 minutes and I don't want to lose my sanity, that was something that I did. Gosh, I don't know why these videos end up being so much about me. Probably has something to do with my extremely defensive nature. Um, Anything that I can take as a personal attack, I will. Anyways.
Oh, and how about when you're on Facebook and a status pops up from someone complaining about traffic? Do you know what causes traffic? Wrecks. Like the one you're going to cause while you attempt to drive and express your feelings to your imaginary friends on the internet. Ugh! Kathy!
Okay, I'm gonna back up because I want to get this clip in full. But, yeah, why? Why would you do that? Why would you be so knowingly, hypocritical like that? Like, I can't imagine how you couldn't. Then again, like, like, I don't know if this kind of stuff even happens because I don't do social media generally. When I can avoid it. Um, but I know of things like that happening, and it's just kind of like it's always phrased in, like, everybody can see the hypocrisy in it. It's always framed in that hypocritical tone to point out the hypocrisy.
And express your feelings to your imaginary friends on the internet. Ugh! Kathy! I really think I put enough C's at the end of that one to emphasize the point. And send. Watch it, mister! Watch it, buddy! Hold! Oh my goodness! People these days learn to drive! I don't want.
Okay, so the reason I say it's like a legendary clip, that was one of the ones I recognized from when they did a Big Head Kid impressions contest on the community, and somebody did that one, and it was funny. That's why I mentioned it.
I don't want to hurt your precious feelings, but do you really think that I care that you're sitting in traffic? No! I actually wish traffic upon you when you do that. Just stay away.
I wish traffic upon you when you do that. That's a that's like a pretty good I guess a curse. You'd be like, I wish traffic upon you. That's I don't know. That's funny.
Away from me for longer, please. Oh, and how about those people that think that all the roads in all the world were created with their name on it?
This
Rome? If their name is Rome or Roman. Anyways.
guy in front of me was going 35 miles per hour for like 20 minutes, I swear, on a one-lane road.
Oh, was that hard for you? Let me get this straight. You were going 32 miles per hour faster than you can walk, and you're complaining? Seriously, if you...
As someone who has spent the last 7 years of his life making significant travel via bicycle primarily, but also walking. I don't particularly mind when I can't go speed. I do. Okay. It's different if you're in the passing lane and if you're in the passing lane and you're trying to pass someone and you're going like half a mile an hour faster than them, that can be different. But again, it's like, so what? You're still going like I'm not gonna wish you to stay in that slow lane behind that person who's going slightly slower than you would like to be. Particularly when it's hypocritical for me to be behind you wishing you to go faster while you are actively trying to pass someone you were stuck behind wishing you could go faster. But still.
Your biggest complaint in life is that the miracle of modern day travel got you to your destination 10 miles per hour slower than you preferred? You need to reassess your life. Doesn't it seem kind of strange to be so reliant on something that's only existed for like one whole century in the entire history of the world? No.
Yes and no. See, the thing is that we're not independently dependent on them. We are dependent on motor vehicles because the world runs on motor vehicles. So when everyone else is going 50 miles an hour faster than you are, then you either have to plan a lot of extra time for everywhere you want to go, or you have to catch up, or you have to spend all your time playing catch up. So, yeah, I get the irony there, but I also think that it is in large part justified.
I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with cars. I'm just saying that if all cars vanished one day, we would all starve to death. And
Okay, so that's where you're wrong. Again, like I said, we're not independent. We are independently. We're independently dependent on cars. Or individually independent. I'm retarded. We are individually dependent on cars. Um, as a society, if they suddenly vanished, I mean, anything. If you make anything suddenly vanish, yes, it's going to set everything back for a while. Um, but we'd get around not having cars. And life would essentially go back to what it was in the 1880s and 1890s. But and I mean, yeah, some people would starve to death due to lack of grocery transportation that we get from semi truckers and whatnot. Um, but again, our dependence on cars is we are dependent on cars because other people are dependent on cars. And we're all dependent on cars because they're useful. Bro, I don't even know what I'm doing with myself. What am I doing here with my life? What is this what even is this channel? I'm debating the the, the details of our dependency on automobiles. Oh my gosh. This is so retarded. Anyways.
You know it! We'd probably have to farm! We'd have to go get to know our neighbors! We'd actually have to exercise? I'ma go ride my bike.
I challenge you to carry any meaningful amount of produce on a bicycle at any reasonable speed. As someone who has, as I said, done significant cycling in my past as my primary method of transportation, it's so nice having a car.
I'm really trying not to text and drive at the same time because they've told me that it's dangerous, but me and my girlfriend are having difficulties in our relationship and I don't really know, but maybe I'll just check it when the red light comes up. Yeah. Oh shoot, it turned green. Well, I know how to text and drive. I know all the buttons, all right?
So yeah, don't text and drive, kids. Or do other stupid things while driving. And that's all I have to say. But other people have other things to say. Let's get to the comment section. Okay, so JulianFan55 says, you forgot, drivers who think that everyone else on the road around them are mind readers and therefore they don't need to use their turn signals. It really doesn't take that much effort, people, to push that little lever on the left side of your steering wheel up or down. If it turns itself off after you make the turn, It even turns itself off after you make the turn. Heck, if you are changing lanes, you just need to push down or push up lightly for a few seconds to let it blink a few times. Is it really that difficult? I don't know how many accidents I've almost been in because of someone not using their turn signals, including a semi-truck. They have a blind spot that would hide a house, and somehow they think this is okay. So, okay, I mean, sometimes you, forget, like, again, like I said, most people aren't bad drivers, they just make a mistake once or twice. And, when you, out of like 1,000 turns and lane changes, it's not surprising that you would forget to signal once or twice. On the other hand, it should become sort of muscle memory at that point. But again, I think the point of this video is to not make such a big deal about stupid drivers. I think the video is primarily meant to say, hey, people make mistakes, it is what it is. And that's essentially my take on this. Sorry, by the way, I'm realizing I left the thing there. But whatever. Argonaut says, sometimes I wonder how people are allowed to have a driver's license in Florida. Other times I wonder who gave them the driver's license, and it isn't just Florida, they're everywhere. Here, let me... I wonder something too. I wonder how some people are allowed to post things on social media when they don't know how to spell. But that's fair. I mean, okay, so I when I took my road test, I thought there was no way I was going to pass. Like there was some things I definitely did good, but I I made a lot of mistakes, and it wasn't even a very long test. So how I crammed all those mistakes into such a short amount of time, I don't know. Um, but I think one thing is that they account for the fact that you're going to be uneasy when you're taking the test. Particularly if it's your first time, or as in my case, if you failed the time before. But as bad as I did, I only got 19 hits, and it takes 30 hits to fail. So they're letting a lot of people through, especially if those people have been like driving for like a long time, and they're still that bad. They're letting too many people through the cracks, arguably, but it is what it is. So yeah. Silent Flame 100 says, on the other hand, if you would have been on time for work, but then there's a vehicle in front of you that is going slowly and it adds minutes to your commute and thus causes you to be late, that's not just an annoyance. Okay. So, yes, that is more than an annoyance. But on the other hand, chances are you should plan a few extra minutes of time into your commute. particularly if it's a long enough commute that a slow car would add minutes um, to your commute. Like if it's a 15-minute commute, then maybe leave with 20 minutes to spare. If it's a 30-minute commute, maybe leave with 35 minutes to spare. I mean, not 35 minutes to spare, but like 35 minutes total. If it's an hour commute, you should have 10 to 15 minutes of leeway um, on your own hand then. And I agree, it is more than just an annoyance, but there's things you can do to prevent the situation yourself. And lyrics by Rachel says, "Thumbs up for that great imitation of a car." Yes, I love the kit car, the prop car. Good job on that. LEG says, "I've recently started driving, and it absolutely boggles my mind how anyone thinks texting and driving is a good idea. Like driving itself involves a lot of multitasking to begin with, and you're going to completely unnecessarily add your phone onto all of that." So yeah, I mean, if you when I keep going back to this because it's something that literally just happened, but when I first started driving last week, um, I I could not multitask for garbage. Because as she says, it is significant multitasking. You have to watch the road, watch your blind spots, watch your mirrors, watch your um the thing, the speedometer. Um, I failed my first driving test I because it was just too much multitasking and my brain was fried. Um, but now getting all of that is largely mindless, and it's only been a week. So, um, some of that multitasking does become less problematic. I still say that trying to add your phone into it is just a horrible idea, like the worst horrible idea you can imagine. But but yeah, it it does the multitasking you already have to do does get easier. But yeah, that's the uh, end of the comments here. So I want to thank you for watching, and I'll see you later. Bye.